In the famous line, you say, "I'll never let you go, Jack." But you do.
I lied. I know.
You let him go.
I know.
Do you remember the first time you heard Celine Dion's voice soar over those haunting final scenes? The moment Jack's frozen hand slipped beneath the Atlantic's surface. Titanic wasn't just a movie. It was a cultural phenomenon that redefined cinema and launched careers into the stratosphere. But behind the record-breaking success and Oscar glory lies another story, one of dreams fulfilled and shattered, of instant stardom and unexpected struggles. What happened to the faces that made us believe in love that transcends class boundaries and tragedy? Today, we dive deep into the untold stories of the Titanic cast, their triumphs, their battles, and the price some paid for sailing on the most famous ship in cinematic history. From Oscar glory to personal demons, from enduring love stories to tragic endings. Stay with me until the end, because the final story about Hollywood's King of the World will leave you speechless. Chapter 1. Kate Winslet, the rose who bloomed beyond the wreckage. At just 22, Kate Winslet stepped onto Cameron's Titanic set as a promising young British actress. She left as Rose DeWitt Bukater, a character that would define her career and change her life forever. But the journey from unknown to global superstar came with unexpected turbulence. During filming, Kate faced challenges that would have broken lesser spirits. The grueling water scenes left her with pneumonia and hypothermia. She nearly drowned during the sinking sequences, later admitting she questioned whether the role was worth her life. The physical demands were relentless.
Promise me! Promise me! Promise me this rose! Promise me, Rose. Promise me this, Rose.
What?
You'll let me get up on that door with you.
Come on, darling, there's room for two.
Hours in freezing water, elaborate corsets that restricted breathing, and the constant pressure of carrying half the film's emotional weight. I felt like I was going to die. She later confessed about the water tank scenes, but something told me this was going to change everything. She was right, but perhaps not in ways she initially imagined. When Titanic exploded into global phenomenon status, earning over $2 billion worldwide and becoming the highest-grossing film of all time, Kate found herself thrust into a spotlight brighter than the ship's emergency flares. At 22, she wasn't prepared for the intensity of global fame. Paparazzi followed her everywhere. Magazine covers dissected her appearance. Suddenly, the world had opinions about her body, her choices, her relationships. The pressure nearly broke her. In candid interviews years later, Kate revealed struggling with anxiety and self-doubt during Titanic's aftermath.
Did you ever get face-to-face with any of those people?
I did get face-to-face.
What did you say?
I let them have it. I said, I hope this haunts you.
It was a great moment.
I felt like a fraud, she admitted. Everyone expected me to be rose elegant, confident, perfect. I was just a girl from Reading who happened to get lucky. But Kate's response to fame's challenges revealed the strength that made her perfect for Rose. Instead of retreating, she doubled down on her craft. She deliberately chose challenging, unglamorous roles, the emotionally disturbed Clementine in Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, the determined investigative journalist in Dark Waters, the complex suburban mother in Little Children. Her career strategy proved brilliant. Kate became one of the few actors to successfully transition from blockbuster stardom to serious dramatic credibility. She won an Oscar for The Reader, earned multiple nominations, and built a filmography that showcases remarkable range and fearless commitment to authentic storytelling. At 49 in 2025, Kate remains one of cinema's most respected actresses. She's spoken openly about body positivity, mental health, and the pressures facing young actors in Hollywood's unforgiving spotlight. Her friendship with Leonardo DiCaprio has endured nearly 3 decades, a rare Hollywood bond that speaks to their shared experience of surviving Titanic's cultural tsunami. Looking back, Kate sees Titanic not just as her breakthrough, but as her training ground for handling fame's complexities. That film taught me everything about resilience, she reflects. If you can survive being Rose DeWitt Bukater and everything that came after, you can survive anything in this business. Chapter 2. Leonardo DiCaprio, the king of the world who couldn't escape the crown. Before Titanic, Leonardo DiCaprio was a promising young actor known for independent dramas and art house films. After Titanic, he became the most famous face on the planet and spent the next 2 decades trying to prove he was more than just Jack Dawson's pretty face. At 23, Leo brought an infectious energy to Jack that made audiences fall in love, not just with the character, but with the actor himself. His chemistry with Kate was electric, his performance natural and charismatic. When he stood at the ship's bow shouting, "I'm the king of the world," it felt prophetic. He had conquered Hollywood's highest peak. But kingship came with a crown of thorns. Overnight, Leo became the world's most desired heartthrob, gracing bedroom walls and magazine covers globally. Teenage girls screamed at his appearances. Paparazzi followed his every move. He couldn't walk down a street without causing riots. The intensity of Titanic fame created an unexpected problem. No one could see past Jack Dawson. When Leo chose challenging follow-up projects, The Beach, The Man in the Iron Mask, audiences and critics seemed disappointed he wasn't the charming, doomed romantic they'd fallen in love with. "I felt trapped," Leo later admitted. "Everyone wanted me to be Jack forever, but I needed to grow as an actor. I had to make some hard choices." Those choices included deliberately seeking out directors who saw beyond his pretty boy image. Martin Scorsese, Christopher Nolan, Alejandro Iñárritu. The partnership with Scorsese proved transformative. Films like Gangs of New York, The Aviator, and The Departed showcased Leo's dramatic range and commitment to complex, morally ambiguous characters. He gained weight, grew beards, took on accents, anything to shed Jack Dawson's shadow. But the Oscar eluded him repeatedly. Despite brilliant performances in What's Eating Gilbert Grape, The Aviator, Blood Diamond, and The Wolf of Wall Street, Leo became Hollywood's most famous nominee never to win. The internet memed his disappointment. Award ceremonies became exercises in watching Leo lose. When he finally won for The Revenant in 2016, after literally eating raw bison liver and sleeping in animal carcasses, the victory felt like vindication, not just of that performance, but of his entire post-Titanic journey to be taken seriously as an actor. Today at 50, Leo has successfully transformed from heartthrob to serious dramatic actor and environmental activist. He's become one of cinema's most selective stars, working only with master filmmakers on projects that challenge him artistically. His environmental foundation has raised millions for climate change awareness. Yet, Titanic's shadow remains. At every red carpet, in every interview, the film that made him famous inevitably comes up. Leo has made peace with this legacy, understanding that some roles transcend the actors who play them. Jack Dawson became part of cultural DNA, and Leo learned to appreciate being forever linked to a character who taught millions about love, sacrifice, and living life to the fullest. "I'm grateful for Jack," he says now. "That character opened doors I never could have imagined. My job was to prove I deserved to walk through them." Chapter 3. Gloria Stewart, the elderly Rose who found new life. Perhaps no Titanic casting decision was more inspired than choosing 87-year-old Gloria Stewart to play elderly Rose. A former 1930s Hollywood starlet whose career had long faded, Gloria suddenly found herself at the center of cinema's biggest phenomenon, and it changed her golden years in ways she never expected. Gloria had been largely forgotten by Hollywood when James Cameron discovered her. Once a beautiful leading lady who starred opposite Claude Rains and Jimmy Stewart, she'd stepped away from acting in the 1940s to raise her family and pursue painting. For decades, she lived quietly in California, her movie star past a distant memory. When Cameron's team approached her about playing 101-year-old Rose, Gloria initially hesitated. She hadn't acted in years and wondered if she could handle such a demanding role. But something about the story, a woman reflecting on a passionate love affair that defined her life, resonated deeply. Her performance became Titanic's emotional anchor. Gloria's Rose was wise, funny, and heartbreaking, carrying the weight of decades of secrets. Her chemistry with the younger cast was remarkable, making audiences believe she had once been Kate Winslet's spirited character. When Titanic became a global phenomenon, Gloria experienced something unprecedented for someone her age. She became famous again. At 87, she was walking red carpets, giving interviews, and earning an Oscar nomination for Best Supporting Actress. The nomination made her the oldest person ever nominated in that category at the time. "I felt like Cinderella," she laughed in interviews. except I was 87 years old and had grandchildren older than some of the people interviewing me. The late career renaissance delighted Gloria, who approached her newfound fame with humor and grace. The success led to a brief return to acting, including a role in The $1 Million Hotel and some television work. But perhaps more importantly, it validated a lifetime of artistic pursuits. Gloria had always been a painter and sculptor, and Titanic's success brought attention to her visual art as well. Gloria passed away in 2010 at age 100, having lived long enough to see Titanic's enduring legacy and her own role in cinema history secure. Her final years were marked by contentment and amazement at her unexpected return to the spotlight. Her story serves as a reminder that it's never too late for a second act. At an age when most people are settling into retirement, Gloria Stewart reminded the world why she'd been a star in the first place and proved that great actors never really lose their magic. They just wait for the right role to showcase it again. Chapter 4. Billy Zane, the villain who couldn't escape Cal's shadow. Billy Zane delivered one of cinema's most memorable villainous performances as Cal Hockley, Rose's controlling fiancé. His portrayal was so convincingly despicable that it inadvertently typecast him for decades. Before Titanic, Billy was a character actor known for The Phantom and Dead Calm. He brought genuine menace to Cal, creating a character audiences loved to hate. His controlling behavior and entitled arrogance made him the perfect antagonist to Leo's heroic Jack. But Billy's performance was perhaps too effective. In the years following Titanic, he found himself repeatedly offered similar roles: wealthy villains, controlling men, period piece antagonists. While he occasionally accepted these parts, Billy struggled to break free from Cal's shadow. Playing a character that memorable can be both blessing and curse, he reflected. People see you and immediately think, villain. It limits the stories directors think you can tell. Billy's post-Titanic career became a mix of B-movies, television work, and independent films. While he worked steadily, he never achieved the A-list status some co-stars enjoyed. His powerful villainous turn paradoxically limited opportunities rather than expanding them. In recent years, Billy has embraced character work and found success in television, including Twin Peaks and The Boys. He's become something of a cult figure, with fans appreciating his commitment to bringing intensity to every role. At 58, Billy has made peace with being known primarily for Cal Hockley, regularly appearing at fan conventions. His experience reminds us that in Hollywood, being too good at playing bad can sometimes limit an actor's range of opportunities. Chapter 5. Frances Fisher, Molly Brown's unsinkable spirit lives on. Kathy Bates brought Margaret Molly Brown to vivid life, earning an Oscar nomination for her portrayal of the unsinkable socialite. Her performance was both comedic and deeply human, providing much-needed levity while honoring the real Molly Brown's remarkable spirit. Already an established actress with an Oscar win for Misery, Kathy approached Molly Brown with characteristic preparation and commitment. She researched the real Margaret Brown extensively, finding in her a kindred spirit, a woman who refused to be constrained by society's expectations. Her scenes crackled with energy and authenticity. Whether comforting passengers during the disaster or standing up to Cal Hockley's snobbery, Kathy's Molly was simultaneously tough and tender, funny and fierce. The role perfectly showcased her ability to blend comedy and drama seamlessly. The Oscar nomination for Titanic added to Kathy's already impressive awards collection, but more importantly, it demonstrated her versatility. She could be terrifying in Misery, hilarious in Fried Green Tomatoes, and inspiring in Titanic. Few actors possess such range. Post-Titanic, Kathy continued choosing diverse, challenging roles. She worked with the Coen brothers, appeared in hit TV shows like 2.5 Men and American Horror Story, and maintained her status as one of Hollywood's most reliable character actresses. At 76, Kathy remains active and sharp, recently earning acclaim for her work in Richard Jewell. Her portrayal of Molly Brown stands as one of Titanic's most beloved performances, a reminder that sometimes the most memorable characters are those who refuse to sink, no matter how dark the waters become. Chapter 6. David Warner, the Master of Menace, sails on. David Warner brought chilling authority to Spicer Lovejoy, Cal's loyal valet and enforcer. With minimal dialogue but maximum presence, Warner created a character both mysterious and menacing, a shadow always lurking behind the film's primary antagonist. A veteran British character actor, Warner had built his career playing memorable villains and complex supporting characters. His gaunt features and piercing eyes made him perfect for roles that required quiet menace, and Lovejoy was no exception. Warner's performance in Titanic was economical but effective. Every glance, every movement conveyed threat and loyalty to his employer. He made Lovejoy more than just a henchman. He became a symbol of the rigid class system that the film critiqued. Throughout his career, Warner specialized in bringing depth to potentially one-dimensional roles, whether playing villains in Time Bandits and The Omen, or supporting characters in serious dramas. He elevated every project with his professionalism and craft. Warner continued working steadily until his death in 2022 at age 80. His final years included memorable roles in television and film, proving that character actors like him are the backbone of the industry, reliable, skilled, and essential to bringing stories to life. His work in Titanic represents the kind of supporting performance that makes great films possible. Understated, professional, and perfectly calibrated to serve the larger story. Chapter 7. Victor Garber, the captain who went down with his ship. Victor Garber's portrayal of Thomas Andrews, Titanic's designer, provided one of the film's most heartbreaking performances. His quiet dignity in the face of disaster and his character's tragic realization that his unsinkable ship was doomed created some of the film's most emotional moments. A respected stage and screen actor, Garber brought gravitas and authenticity to Andrews. His scenes with Kate Winslet were particularly powerful, showing a man grappling with the knowledge that his life's work had become a death trap for thousands. Garber's performance was notable for its restraint. He never overplayed Andrews' anguish, instead showing a man trying to maintain composure while facing unthinkable tragedy. His final scene, alone in the ship's smoking room as water rises around him, remains one of Titanic's most haunting images. Post-Titanic, Garber continued his successful career in theatre, film, and television. He became particularly known for his role as Jack Bristow in the TV series Alias, showing his range by playing a morally complex father figure across 5 seasons. At 74, Garber remains active in theatre, returning to his first love of live performance. His work in Titanic stands as a masterclass in supporting acting, dignified, authentic, and deeply moving, without ever calling attention to the performance itself. Chapter 8. James Cameron, the director who built his own Titanic and sailed to glory. No story of Titanic's cast would be complete without examining the man who captained this cinematic voyage, James Cameron. The director didn't just make a movie about an obsessive perfectionist. He became one, pushing himself, his cast, and his crew to the limits of human endurance to create his masterpiece. Cameron's vision for Titanic was audacious from the beginning. He wanted to build a near full-scale replica of the ship, sink it repeatedly, and do it all while telling an epic love story that would satisfy both critics and audiences. The budget ballooned to then unprecedented levels, earning the production mockery from industry insiders who dubbed it Cameron's folly. His demands on the cast were legendary. Kate Winslet nearly drowned and got hypothermia. Leonardo DiCaprio spent hours in freezing water. The entire cast endured months of grueling night shoots, elaborate period costumes, and Cameron's famously demanding perfectionism. Jim could be tough, Kate Winslet diplomatically recalled years later, but he was tough on himself too. He wanted every detail to be perfect, and honestly, that's why the film worked. Cameron's obsession extended to historical accuracy. He consulted with maritime experts, studied survivor accounts, and insisted on recreating the ship's sinking as accurately as possible. This attention to detail created a film that was both spectacular entertainment and respectful tribute to the real tragedy. When Titanic swept the Oscars with 11 wins, including Best Director and Best Picture, Cameron's vindication was complete. His acceptance speech, "I'm King of the World," became an instant cultural moment, simultaneously triumphant and slightly cringeworthy. But Cameron's true triumph wasn't just commercial success. It was proving that audiences still hungered for epic emotional storytelling. In an era of cynical, ironic filmmaking, Titanic's earnest romanticism and spectacular disaster sequences reminded Hollywood that sometimes the biggest risks yield the greatest rewards. Post-Titanic, Cameron became cinema's most selective director, spending years developing each project. He revolutionized filmmaking technology with Avatar, pushed 3D to new heights, and continued his underwater exploration passion. His films became events, with audiences waiting years between releases. At 70, Cameron remains cinema's most ambitious filmmaker. His upcoming Avatar sequels promise to push visual storytelling even further, but Titanic remains his most culturally impactful work. A film that proved blockbuster entertainment and emotional depth aren't mutually exclusive. Cameron's story represents the power of creative obsession, his refusal to compromise, his willingness to risk everything for his vision, and his ability to inspire others to match his commitment created not just a successful film, but a cultural phenomenon that continues to resonate decades later. In conclusion, the ship that launched 1,000 dreams. As we surface from these deep waters of memory and revelation, one truth becomes clear. Titanic was more than a movie. It was a life-changing experience for everyone who boarded Cameron's cinematic vessel. From Kate Winslet's transformation into a global icon, to Leonardo DiCaprio's decades-long journey to artistic respectability, from Gloria Stewart's late-career renaissance to the supporting players who found their lives forever altered by association with cinema history. The stories we've explored reveal the double-edged nature of phenomenal success. Titanic created careers, launched dreams, and provided opportunities that seemed as impossible as raising the ship itself from the ocean floor. But it also created pressures, expectations, and shadows that some cast members are still navigating decades later. As we prepare for Titanic's continued cultural voyage with rumors of anniversary re-releases, documentaries, and continued fascination, these cast stories serve as both celebration and cautionary tale. They remind us that behind every cultural phenomenon are real people whose lives are forever changed by forces they could never have anticipated. Did you like this episode? Would you want to see more like this one? Let us know what old movies cast you'd like us to research and create a video on. And if you think we deserve a pat on the back, subscribe and stay tuned.